So this channel is a basketball channel. I talk about all of basketball. I'm talking, you're seeing just today, I've talked about some NBA, I react to mock drafts. I'm talking about the Pro A League. I've been talking about the WNBA. And amongst all of that, obviously, the main view driver right now is Caitlin Clark, because obviously there is a relevance there. But I've got to give props to Angel Reese. And I don't think I've made enough videos necessarily covering Angel Reese, because Angel Reese is, in my opinion, she is not as good a basketball player as Caitlin Clark, but she is equally as important for the growth of the WNBA as Caitlin Clark, because the growth of the sport needs more than what's on the floor. And everything off the floor with Caitlin Clark, she doesn't like... Caitlin Clark is, in general, a likable person, other than, like, maybe sometimes complaining about calls, but she just seems to be quiet and gets on with her life, and isn't this larger-than-life figure, other than the fact that she shoots from 30 feet. Other than the fact she shoots from 30 feet, plays the game at a pace that we haven't seen at women's basketball, and for that reason, a lot of people want to tune in and watch her play. But Angel Reese not only is showing on the floor that she is an elite WNBA player, she's able to just... She has more, like, ability to blend pop culture and sports than almost anyone we've seen. Like, I'm not going to say... It's good. This is probably one of the almost examples that I will use. Obviously, she's not crazy like this person was, but what Dennis Rodman was able to do in the 90s. Dennis Rodman was just like, he was this almost mercurial talent, other than obviously the going to Vegas and coming back, but like, he had the ability to go to WCW and be in the NWO, and the next night ball out for the Chicago Bulls, be the best rebounder, be a hustle player. And Angel Reese is something similar. Like, she went to the Met Gala before her first preseason game and comes out and is still the most tenacious rebounder on the floor. Like, Angel Reese's game on the floor is really good. Like, she is a great defender. She is a glue guy. She's an elite rebounder. She's one of the best rebounders. Can she score the ball at a great rate? No. No, she can't. Like, her ability to score, like, she's struggling shooting from anywhere, even around the basket. But half the time she misses, she gets her own board because she just wants it more. So she's a really, really good player. Like, from the 7th pick in the draft, I didn't know how she was going to translate. And I'll admit it, like, look, when you're talking about the sport, you make predictions. You make predictions based on what you've seen in the past, and sometimes you are just flat out wrong. Me thinking it was going to be a little bit of a learning curve to Angel Reese, flat out wrong. She is undersized for her position, but she just wants the ball more. It's hard to tell whether or not that, like, just grit and determination is going to translate, and all the people who said it would are right. I was wrong. I was wrong prior to the draft, and I'll admit that. But she is the perfect player as far as marketability goes. She's able to blend pop culture and basketball, and she's able to do both without harming the other, which is so impressive. So many times we see players, when they end up having too many commitments outside the sport, when they have too many things to focus on outside the sport, actually let their, like, sport suffer. And then so many people that are just so focused on the sport let the other stuff suffer. But with Angel Reese, she's able to do both, and I think it might almost be the style of play she has, because she just seems to have this willingness to just out hustle everybody. And I don't think that goes. I don't think that goes away regardless of what you're doing. But she is delivering both ends right now. Like, you're seeing her walking out in concerts. Look, I do not claim to have a clue who Glorilla is. I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue of some of the things that Angel Reese, like, is getting involved in. I don't know who Youngboy is, obviously when in college. And people are talking about all this stuff. It doesn't matter, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. There is a huge audience for these people, and Angel Reese is able to blend that audience with basketball. And whenever these people who are fans of Angel Reese, the person, because she's a lovely person, she seems to be an unbelievable teammate. Oh, I just knocked down a can. She seems to be an unbelievable teammate. She's a great leader. A player that I would have loved if the Fever somehow can get. Like, obviously, it's a crazy scenario. And Caitlin Clark is the perfect player to play beside Angel Reese, and vice versa. If somehow they can go, you know what? Alia Boston, you don't fit with Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese. Angel Reese on a pick. Because Alia Boston is probably the better player, not the better draw, and not the not like the player as fit. Doesn't have the same fit as Angel Reese would and Caitlin Clark. But at the same time, like, Angel Reese is holding up her end of the bargain. And so is Caitlin Clark. Like, the fact is that you're seeing it in every single fan poll. In every single fan poll, it's not even close. Angel Reese gets more votes. Like, realistically, if we're talking about who the best rookies have been in the WNBA, look, I'm going to be honest, as far as pure basketball goes, even with the turnovers, you're going to turn the ball over more when you're the first option than when you're the fourth option and all your buckets are just from out hustling everybody. It's probably Clark and then one of Reese or Brink. But all three have been brilliant, by the way. If you think Reese was number one, cool. My opinion is that Clark's probably had, maybe I'm just judging it by today, because I think today her second half was really good, regardless of what people say about the whole getting hacked and getting angry with the take foul stuff. That was a bad possession. She had a really good second half. Either way, in every poll, there are Angel Reese fans are going in droves, and she's winning every poll. If there's going to be, I don't know exactly how the All-Star game works for the WNBA. I haven't been that invested. Again, as I've said, I've watched enough of it over the years to know what's going on. I'm starting to really get invested with these players, with Caitlin Clark, with Angel Reese, with Brink, with obviously Cardoso's not playing, Nika Mule, Jackson, like all of these players from college that I watched a bit of college ball. It'll be the same when Paige Beckers comes in and when Juju Watkins come in, who I think will be the best of all these players, by the way. I'm starting to figure it out more. But if there is any sort of vote, Angel Reese is going to win it. She is going to win it. And it's not just that she's the most popular player, because as far as like eyes on the sport goes and to watch individual games, Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw for individual games. Caitlin Clark is who people are going to come see play basketball. But Angel Reese is the most popular player as far as like her fan base. As far as an individual goes, Angel Reese has the biggest fan base. Angel Reese has done what you would kind of hope players would have done. She has done exactly what is needed. And she is equally as important for the growth of the WNBA as Caitlin Clark. Because do I think she's going to be this absolute superstar player? Not really. Not really. Because her game is more effective than it is exciting or like great to watch. Her game is incredibly effective. But like, we don't hear about people going out there to watch hustle rebounders, except for one situation. In the 1990s, Rodman was almost as famous as Michael Jordan. And obviously, again, she's not Rodman as far as just how just nuts he was. But what I mean is that he had the ability to become more famous for what he did outside basketball, but while still playing basketball, being one of the best players at what he did. Sorry, not even one of the best player at what he did in the league. And I think you're going to have a similar impact with Angel Reese, because she is a hell of a player. She is a hell of a player. Like, she's probably going to average 13 and 8, with 5 of those 8 being offensive boards. Not going to be the greatest scorer, but those are numbers that will probably, especially with her name, will get her into that All-Star game. And this rookie class is unbelievable. Like, Cameron Brink might be the best of the three of them, as far as just pure basketball. Like, she's a freaking unicorn. 5 blocks against the freaking the Aces. 5 blocks. Like, she wasn't scoring that well, but she can hit the 3. She can lay it up. She's a unicorn. And this rookie, and again, she's there on Paul George's podcast. Look, like, speaks really, really well. Is interesting, and obviously the fact that she's a lifelong friend of Stephen Curry, that helps. That helps things. This rookie class is, if the WNBA play it right, this rookie class is what is going to absolutely blow up this league. And I'm more confident than ever with how they've played, because they're holding up their ends of the bargain on both ends. Like, Caitlin Clark off the floor, like, it's not like people aren't fans of Caitlin Clark because of what she does off the floor. Cameron Brink is Cameron Brink. She's a unicorn, and again, she's doing stuff off the floor. Whereas Angel Reese, as far as combining both of them, is something we have not seen almost ever in sport. Like, it's so difficult, and some people aren't necessarily giving Angel Reese the credit, because all of the off-court stuff, it's hard to compete or to have all these commitments and still be able to show up and give your all, especially for someone who their effort is so much of their game. And Angel Reese has done it. Angel Reese has done it. And I haven't made enough videos talking about Angel Reese. I haven't, because obviously Caitlin Clark's played way more games. I haven't talked enough about Angel Reese. And there's going to be a situation where I might end up or it might be videos, some situations where I might end up talking about Cameron Brink. But like, I'm seeing these, obviously, it's like custom trending. But like on my trending on Twitter, like I don't look up that much WNBA stuff. It's more NBA stuff. But these three players are trending huge. And it's going to be very similar when Paige and when Juju come in over the next few years. So women's basketball is in a great place. And obviously, Caitlin Clark is a huge reason for that. And in my opinion, as far as purely watching the games, yes, Caitlin Clark is a bigger draw for just watching the games of basketball than Angel Reese is, or any of the other players in this entire league, including some unbelievable players like Plum, Aja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, Taurasi. She's probably the bigger draw as far as just watching her play because of the excitement there. But as far as pure fame goes and importance to the growth of women's basketball and the growth of the WNBA, Angel Reese is equally as important. And I think both sides are holding up their ends of the bargain. The only people that aren't for the freaking fever are the refs who are screwing them. But both sides are holding up their end of the bargain. And you know what? I will say this. The stars at WNBA are holding up their end of the bargain too. Because when they're coming up against these rookies that people want to watch, they're hooping. They're balling. You're acting like Breanna Stewart was terrible at the end of last season. She was terrible in game one. And then she looks again like herself when she's facing the fever. Destroyed them once, a close game the second time. And Juana Bonner missing shots but still balling. Thomas balling today. So everything is going well right now. Other than the fact that the referees, I cannot explain how bad the referees are for the fever. But from the perspective of growing the league, everything is going well. And obviously, equally as important for that as Angel Reese or as Caitlin Clark, who on this channel, I'll be guilty of it. Like it's easier to talk when Caitlin Clark's playing every second day, to talk about the basketball side of it. As somebody who is more focused on the sport of basketball and not focused on everything around it, it's easier to talk about Caitlin Clark than Angel Reese, especially just because of the way their playstyle is. And because of Caitlin Clark's playstyle, she's more likely to have an unbelievably good game or an unbelievably bad game, whereas Angel Reese, even on a bad game, is going to give you still a 7 out of 10 performance from her effort. So I'll put my hand up and say I have not covered Angel Reese enough over the last couple of weeks. And mainly because a lot of the stuff that she's doing outside of basketball, I don't have a clue of. I don't have a clue what's going on, but I don't need to know. Again, I'm not the target audience, but all I can say is that there is an audience, there is a fan base there, and her fan base might be the biggest of any WNBA player ever. So fair play to her, unbelievable start to her career, and regardless of whatever WNBA salary, she's going to make millions and millions and millions and millions and millions. And if this league is ever going to be ultra popular and as big as it honestly could be, she's going to be one of the faces of it, without question.